As we prepare to crown the 2018 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series champion, and we're so happy that you're along for the ride with us this evening for the 18th and final race this season. We welcome you into the Race Spot TV booth. Myself, Evan Pusoka, Randy Cheneth with you for the call tonight. Our director, Hugo Louise, is downstairs. Race Spot TV and the iRacing Esports Network. One race to crown a champion. Let's go racing from Homestead. Green flag in the air to turn number one. Nick Ottinger, your pole sitter, brings us up to the gears for the first time. We are going to go 3 wide for the lead at Homestead, just 9 laps in. Lewison wants to make the inside work, and Schoenberg way overdrove corner 3. He'll throw this one away. Brad Davies with a big run.
Fortunately loose, Mr. Taylor Hurst. Michael Guest just coming up the racetrack. They both go for the same bit of real estate at the same time. The 05 and Nick Ottinger, bit of an in his set up the dream situation. Michael picks up the 4th spot, and that puts championship contenders running 1, 2, 3, 4 as they come to start lap 107.
The battle for the top 4 is the battle for this 2018 championship.
Able to fight Ray here as they go down the front straightaway, but if you apply mercy the 34, they get the wall that goes side by side in the 1.
It was the slightest bit of contact, but it breathes new life to Ray Alfala. Look how hard they drive it into the corner as Alfala pushes Luza up the hill.
Back straightaway. Do either of them off the pit road? Yes, he does. Ray Alfala makes the call a few laps after Busa.
And he went right side by side with Luza into the corner. And look at how Fowler digs sideways as he tries to get all the time he can. All kinds of out of shape as Ray Alfala drives it hard to pit road.
There is $10,000 on the line, 2 laps to go, and $10,000, 2/10 of a second separating it.
1 lap to determine the championship as Ryan Luza still needs a car length and a half, just 1 into the final time. The 6 drives it in hard. He looks for the bumper of Alfala, but he is not going to get there in time. The 6 can't stay in the gas, and Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
Hello and welcome to Friday Night Primetime. This season we'll be hitting the Formula Renault 3.5. And today the kickoff of the season will be at Zolder circuit. So today's weather conditions, we got 18 degrees C for our ambient temperature, 51% for the humidity, partly cloudy skies, and a breeze about 7 kilometers an hour. So it shouldn't be too much of an impact on the cars today. Overall track temperature looking about 68 degrees Fahrenheit. So that should be a very cool track, which means plenty of grip out there. As we look into qualifying, Riku Alato is sitting at top of the boards with a 1:08.394, and this is very interesting with these particular cars because everybody's only had about a week to shake them down. They're brand new to the service, and everybody's been excited to get into them. So first off on the grid, we got Riku Alato and Joni Heikkinen on your front row, both Finnish drivers, then Victor Pretro and Josh Ladd rounding out your second row. Starting fifth is Samuel Lambert, then Johan Harth, who we've seen run the IMSA series last season, David Jarvis in seventh, and eighth is Ville Lepla. I think I said that right. Jukas Salakin is ninth, 10th is Julian Alfred, 11th is Matteo Calastini, and 12th is Petri Kalosa, 13th Joel Glees, 14th Antti Livoska, Adrian Klemich, I think I said that right, and 16th is David Deloitte. 17th is Stefan Hanneman, 18th Antonio Oris Pravidia, 19th is Tim Graven, and 20th is Tim McKeever. 21st is Scott Shire, 22nd Kazuki Omishi, 23rd is Matu Purimi, I think I said that close. 24th is Fernando Guerrero. And that rounds out your whole grid. Standing start today, and we'll look forward to watching these things launch for the very first time this season. Just the tension in the air. Now the biggest thing that's I'm concerned here is the tight chicanes first time through before these Michelins get up to temperature. But we'll see what happens, and they're off. And we are underway with Formula 3.5 for 2019 Season 1. Here we go through turn 1. Looks mostly clean going into turn 2. Looks like we got 3 wide. Everybody's starting to funnel back down to 2x2. The leaders have quickly gone down single file, and that is what you want to do very quickly here. Oh, and we got a spin in the first chicane. It sneaks up fast, and those Michelin tires, if they're not at the temperature. Oh, and another one. Several cars having trouble at their first chicane. It looks like that's Arin Glimitz that's already off and lost all the positions, going to fall all the way to the back of the field, losing 9 positions through that. That is not the way you want to start off your season. But if we look back up to the front of the field, it looks like we got challenges all the way. Side by side in turn 1. And it looks like Heineken's got it. Heineken is just sitting right there behind. It's a really close race here. I mean, everybody's still new to the car, and Zolder is definitely a track where you gotta stay on your toes and you can't miss your braking points, as we saw very early on. Drivers really struggling that first chicane on the cold tires. Right along here with Felipe Lapa in 6th. Looks like he's looking at the left, not going to make it to a slow down, wait for a better spot, but looks like he's got the pace. It's just a matter of finding the right timing. And is definitely holding him here. David Jarvis definitely does not seem to have the position right now, as there he goes. Side by side in turn 1, and Jarvis gives it up. See, just staying single file is predominantly here until somebody goes to make a move, but a lot of it is mistake oriented, is what we're seeing very early on. I mean, a big thing here with Zolder I mentioned earlier on is it's all about the braking points here. Turned some laps earlier today, just getting a feel for it. Whoa, and speaking of which, Tim Graven just goes around. That is biting him again. Oh, a little too early on the throttle. These things do have more power than the 2.0 that we've had on the service for a little while now. So putting that power, the pedal all the way down with the tires dirty is not ideal. Now this is the alternate layout. As you saw, they went through the old school turn instead of having the final chicane there. So it means that they're a lot faster in the straight and a lot faster into turn 1. Which in many ways opens up that passing opportunity that we've seen a few times already this race. Jarvis definitely does not seem to be letting Lapar get away. He is staying right there and kind of learning from his competitor here. Very good through the chicane, minimal speed loss. That's going to help him close up that gap little by little. Oh, big gain there on the brakes. A little bit of a lockup, but there it is. There it is. It's all about the braking into these really tight chicanes because they're so... Oh! And there's the mistake. Lapa just cost him the position by running into the grass. Let's look at that on replay. So here we go. We just finished the type, and he just gets a little too far to the inside, catches the grass, and it just completely upset the car, costing the position almost instantaneously. But a very good save to keep the car under control. So let's go back to live. Ooh, and David Jarvis just like he had a real close one. And he might actually have bigger problems than that. Let's take a look at that. Alright, so it goes through the final couple of bends there. Everything looks good going on to the front straight. Must have lost it somewhere in turn 1. Oh, on the curb, just a little bit. Oh, and there it is. There's the contact between Lepma and Jarvis. It's been getting intense, but it doesn't look like... He might have some suspension damage because it looked like he was pulling a little bit to the left there at the end. So everybody's got to be really careful. I mean, that's the thing with open wheel racing. Last season we had the IMSA series, and I mean, those are closed wheel cars. You can really kind of get up on each other, do a little beating and banging, and you can get away with some of it. But with these open wheelers, especially around the tires, I mean, everything is a lot more sensitive to impact, and you definitely do not want to make contact wheel to wheel. that it could easily cause damage that can ruin your race, and I think we just saw that there with Jarvis. So we're looking here at the battle for 7th, which is between Petri Cordova and Julian Alfred. If I'm saying any of these names wrong, please bear with me. A lot of them are new to me. And Jake Sperry has just joined us. Hey, Jake.
Yes, certainly have here. We've got side-by-side action. Petri Cordova then trying to hold off Julien Offray, who has struggled over the last couple of laps, but a good defense by Cordova into the Tulamen complex, and that would be enough to hold the position. Apologies for my lateness, ladies and gentlemen. Offray looking at the Boulderberg, trying to think about a move back. Now into the mix is Jukka Savalainen in this battle for 7th, 8th and 9th in the field. Your leader at the moment, Ricky Atulu, Riku Alatalo, who has this one by 1.2 seconds over Joni Heikkinen, and a couple of drivers on pit road at the moment. Samuel Libert, Aurelien Gimmelvix is 1 lap down, and David Jarvis as well. But Mr. Burbage, we have ourselves some very, very good racing, some drivers up and down the field making positions, but crucially, it is the battle in the middle of the pack we need to focus on. Ville Lepala, Petri Cordova, Julien Offray and Jukka Savalainen all out there in a forecast scrap for 6th position.
Yeah, 6th place has definitely been a center of action, especially from the start. I don't know if you caught it before you made it in, but there was people getting a little close and catching on the grass, and it's really upsetting these Formula Renault 3.5s.
It certainly has done. Of course, this track a very tight and a very narrow circuit at that as well. Overtaking is sometimes at a premium, especially with those anti-cut curbs that are so famous here around this Zolder track. Antti Leveska in the battle for 11th position, trying to get past Matteo Calistani in the University Isabella First. Positive Sim Racing number 5 machine. Number 5 indicating he is the 5th best driver when it comes to his iRacing score. Of course, not using the final chicane proper. It is a shortened version, a quicker version of that final chicane. That makes the final section incredibly difficult as an overtaking opportunity, and a lot of drivers have to be wary about that. As we have a spinner, that's Julien Offray, who has gone around at turn number 1. We saw Jukka Savalainen down the inside, and just too aggressive there, Stephen, trying to put his power down on the exit, and as such, it has cost him a multitude of positions.
Yeah, I think the drivers are really struggling with the additional power of the 3.5 when they're coming from the 2.0. And there they go, those anti-cut curves you were talking about earlier, just caught it wrong. Seems like just a combination of just bad things.
It was a combination of things that weren't quite all together, but he is able to keep himself going and continuing forward. Does the Frenchman as Kazuki Mishima goes around right in front of the leader, and that will be pretty much day done for Kazuki Gun in the Radicals Online car, and he will bow out, not having any comfortability with the vehicle. Leveska, though, still behind Calistani, heading through the final section, heavy over the first part of the chicane, but look at the run he's going to pick up towards turn number 1. First corner, as it's known, and on the brakes is able to really get the run that was needed, and position +1 for Antti Leveska, and now Calistani on the hands here, Stephen, of David Dendelo.
Yeah, I mean, the battle here, Dendelo's looking, but I mean, again, like we were speaking earlier, it's all about consistency. It's about not making mistakes, and we just saw the mistake there Dendelo made, and he just cost him another spot.
Did, and that was the Bushfink machine of Tim Greven making his way through, and all of a sudden Stefan Herrmann wants to get in on the mix in towards Tulamen. Once you make one mistake around here, once you lose one position, 2 or 3 do tend to follow pretty quickly afterwards. So drivers will have to be nursing their way around the track a little bit at a time in this 25-lap event. Petri Cordova, though, looking at 6th position as an option, trying to get past the number 20 of Ville Lepala, as Lepala now gets under pressure, fully committed in the tow, and that is Cordova comfortably making his way through. The draft factor in these 3.5s a lot stronger than you'd find here, Stephen, on other vehicles.
Yeah, and I mean, the draft is one of those things you don't want to fall out of. This is, you know, outside of the slow chicanes, you've got several high-speed sections, which that draft will play key.
really important for the middle of the pack to attempt their overtaking. Top five even, all on roads of their own. It's Alatalo who leads, Joni Heikkinen in second, it's Victor Prato for Champs iRacing in third, Josh Ladd in fourth position with Johan Harth in position number 5. It is race clutch 4 and 5 at the moment in this event, but this is about trying to get some momentum going. This is the first primetime broadcast of the season, the first race that we've actually seen these 3.5s get fully into action. This is going to be a test which a lot of drivers now are trying to work out. How do I use this car as Savalainen looks down the inside at turn number 1 in the number 4 car, unable to make it happen as he makes his way to Observatory Bend. Stephen, this is the first chance where you have to ask, am I quick enough? Do we have the setup that works? We've had week 13 to work on things, but really 1 week does not set the trend for an entire car.
No, it doesn't, and it definitely doesn't set the trend for the season. I mean, 1 week shakedown is a very small amount of time compared to what these drivers are used to having for a Friday night primetime event. So seeing who can adapt to this new chassis the quickest and learn its subtleties, I think we'll really see over the next couple of weeks.
Certainly will. Ville Lepela has not gone away from Kotavara, and Kotavara is under pressure heading to Boulderberg. A thought about going down to the inside turns to absolutely nothing at Boulderberg, and now the setup towards turn number 1 needs to be the place as Savalainen behind has a huge moment and costs himself a lot of time. Again, trying to deal with that power, which is not there in comparison to the Formula Renault 2.0, and it bit back.
And that slow hairpin, it's, you gotta be careful getting on. Oh, and he locked it up a little bit, so he definitely jabbed on the brakes to bring the nose back in line.
He did. Now we've got side-by-side behind as Matteo Calistani tries to hold off Tim Grevin around the outside of Observatory Bend. And I tell you what, Calistani made himself tougher than a $2 steak to make that move, but that means nothing. All of a sudden, picking up the scraps is David Dendelo, trying to find himself a way through at the Klein chicane now. This fantastic left-right, you cannot go too wide here, and yielding goes Positive Sim Racing. Now Stefan Herman is the next who wants to get through, and just like that, 1, 2, almost 3 positions going in the space of half a lap.
Yeah, I mean, these chicanes, if you are not on that line, you just lose so much momentum, and it just makes you a sitting duck to whoever's coming from behind.
It certainly does, and a lot of drivers had to have been careful, and they now know how much they have to manage. We are over the halfway stage in this opening race on Friday night prime time, the only series that has been voted for by you, the fans here at Racebook TV, as we stream on the iRacing Esports Network. Grevin under pressure. Here comes David Dendelo going to the outside to try and make it at turn number 1, unable to put the power down on the exit. Was very respectful and gave a lot of room, and through Observatory and then into the Canal Corner and Lucien Bianchi Bend, there's not really much help that David Dendelo is going to help in order to make this move. Train though from Kotavara backwards has a new member in it, and that is Joel Guez, who has found his way past Antti Lavoska, and Joel Guez all of a sudden is looking at Savalainen thinking, okay, let's just stay patient here because chances could happen.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it all race, Jake. I mean, chances are there, and a lot of it has to do with just people getting a little too greedy on the corner apex and corner exit, getting onto those no-cut curves, or getting a little bit into the grass or the gravel and just losing it just a little bit, costing them all that momentum and time.
There's a fantastic lap by Joni Heikkinen on lap 13. He did have an off-track instant point. It won't count as his fastest lap, but a 109.087. That was enough to take 0.2 of a second off of Riku Alatalo in the Glacier Racing car in front. Gap down 1.3 seconds at the front of the field. And Heikkinen, who had himself some fantastic results in 2017 and into 2018, he has had a good season by his standards as well. He's trying to chase down someone who has been a staple of iRacing for a number of years, a former World Championship license holder, someone who has had insane speed going back all the way to 2011, 2012 in open wheel formulas in Riku Alatalo. This is going to be a tough challenge to reel this down, because Alatalo certainly hasn't lost any of his skill here today, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's really important to notice is when drivers maintain their skill set over a period of time. Oh, and it looks like Matteo Castini just went off into the gravel.
Yep, that's Calistani, who was struggling in the positive sim racing machine. The University of Isabel, the first positive sim racing machine. That was through the Tulane complex. Second part of the chicane. Oh, he got heavy over the curves. It unsettled the rear of the vehicle. And just like that, no traction, no grip. And Calistani's going for a ride. He's now behind the one lap down Aurelian Gimmelvitz, which will put him into 16th or 15th position, out on circuit. So that's not ideal. Angela Voska's found his way back through on Joel Gued. So that's been a change of position that we have kept an eye out on. But Alatalo over that last lap just set the fastest lap of the day, a 1:09.057. He responded magnificently to Heikkinen.
Yeah, I mean, man, just the battles are just impressive today. You know, one thing, you know, Jake, that we always hear a lot with open wheelers is it's a lot more follow the leaders, what people are accustomed to, and this Formula 3.5 really has been putting on a lot of side-by-side action today and a very tight technical circuit.
Well, it certainly hasn't been follow the leader for this fantastic series that has made its way over to iRacing, along with the Dallara F3, and how that has changed the shape of how sim racing looks at itself on the open wheel side of iRacing. But this is going to be a vehicle which a lot of drivers will want to have a good challenge in and a push at trying to master as they climb the ladder of sim racing for the foreseeable future. Got good little battle still going on as Kotavara holding off Lepala, Savalainen, Lavoska and Guez have dropped backwards though outside of that range, and really is a case of if you are not within half a second over the course of the lap, there isn't really an opportunity to go and make these moves, as Lepala trying to follow in the middle of the lap and not quite finding much at the moment. But keep an eye on Riku Alatalo, because that gap has come down by 0.7 of a second over the course of that last lap, and that's not ideal at all.
And it looks like he's got some damage.
May have damage. I don't see any damage on his vehicle, but he certainly may have damage potentially for that Glacier Racing car. And now Heikkinen gets the first chance he's had in a very long time. 267 in the speed trap, hitting on the brakes. It's probably underneath the vehicle that Alatalo now has got to deal with it. Those curves incredibly high here, Stephen, and it's so easy to pick up damage, especially to the floor of these sorts of cars.
Yeah, I mean, any kind of open wheel for the most part, I mean, you don't want to damage the underbody. It can cause, just destroys the aerodynamics of the ride of the car. And I think you're right there on the point there, Jake. And that might be what Alatalo's got going on with his car and where he's struggling.
Certainly may be the case. Look at the overspeed that Heikkinen has. Hard to the inside. Alatalo left only one line to go through, but he's not giving up. Around the outside, he'll try at first corner. He now needs to try and look at Observatory, but he is impervious to the challenge of Joni Heikkinen. Heikkinen fantastically goes down the inside and takes the race lead away from Riku Alatalo. Heikkinen now has himself in a great place, as now Heikkinen has himself a good breakaway, because that's Alatalo making a mistake.
Yeah, Alatalo ran way too wide, and something I mentioned earlier is, like, you know, drivers taking too much liberty with that exit and it costing them time, and we saw that with Alatalo, who just carried way too much speed on the exit. 4 tires in the gravel, that's not going to do him any favors.
No, it's certainly not, and when you ever get yourself into mistakes, once one mistake's happened, 2 and 3 do tend to follow. The race clutch cars, though, are coming together. Johan Hart and Josh Ladd both together on circuit, so they will have themselves a little bit of an easier battle of things, but because they are having this scrap together, there is pride between the drivers who wants to be considered the better driver. Johan Hart, the iRacing Rallycross Series pro driver, He needs to find a way past Josh Ladd, and he certainly has the pace available to him to try and close that gap under a second.
Yeah, I mean, teammate battles have always been really fun to watch, and it differs from team to team, but I think in this case, we're not going to see team orders. This is really much teammates seeing who can throw the gauntlet down and who's really got the pace, adjusting this brand new car.
And this brand new car has been adjusting towards pace for a lot of drivers up and down the field. Antonio Ortiz, for example, in the 23, can he stop Julian O'Fray from making a move around the outside as they battle just in front as David Dendelo and Stefan Herman decide to change positions? O'Fray down the inside at Observatory. Does he have enough room? Not enough power on the exit. Ortiz can run the outside line and hold onto position. Also battles a little bit further down like Tim McIver against Fernando Guerrero. This is for the 18th and 19th position. Shows you just how competitive this field is. They're battling up and down the order.
Yeah, I mean, competitive is definitely the proper word for this race. I mean, strength of field is over 5,000. So we're not dealing with, we're definitely dealing with a high caliber driver here today, Jake.
Certainly are dealing with a high caliber of driver, and Alatalo's got to be careful because Victor Preto did a 109.5, Alatalo's 110 flat, half a second taken off in that last lap with 6 laps remaining here in Belgium in Zolder, because now that gap, 4.3 seconds, if Alatalo starts slipping, this one could all change just like that. So that's just something to keep an eye out on for the final stages of this event. Ville Lepala still has been unable to close down Petri Kotavara, who has just kept him at bay at every point in this event. The gap 3.5 tenths of a second the last time they crossed the start-finish line. I think Lepala is just biding his time for one last move.
Yeah, Lepala's got to be careful, though. I mean, he's made mistakes earlier on in the race. Look before he got here, Jake. And, you know, he had this back and forth going on. And I believe it was with Goals in the beginning. And, you know, they got to make sure that when he's putting on the pressure, he doesn't overdrive the car, because it has plagued him earlier on.
It certainly has done. He's got to be careful. Look at Josh Ladd, though, the battle for 4th position, because here comes Johan Haaf down to the inside to try and make that happen. And oh, he tried to turn in, did Josh Ladd, but he had to suddenly back out of it because Haaf was right down the inside. And just like that, Johan Haaf up into 4th position now in this event. Preto's gap comes down to 3.7 seconds, and this gap's looking close. Look at Lepala, though. Around the outside, he'll try of Petri Kotavara, Observatory bend. He's had enough of waiting. Next 2 corners, this one at Canal and the one afterwards here at Lucian Bianchi, only favour the driver. Oh,
man, that was close.
It was close. You're absolutely right. Kotavara.
Oh, here it goes again.
He'll come straight back trying to find that move, but he won't be able to. This has brought Savalainen in. This has brought Lavoska in, and all of a sudden 4 Finns are having a fight.
And no one's going to be holding.
Oh! Just a snap on the brakes for Savalainen, and that will jump him straight out of proceedings, along with Lavoska, who struggles on the power as well. Just like that, a train of 4 becomes a train of 2, and that tells you just how difficult sometimes the dirty air can be.
Oh, not just that, but I mean, these cars, yeah, they're very, very touchy with the brakes. I was turning some laps before the session just to get a feel for it, and that is you get hard on the brakes, it's so easy to lock them up.
So he's locked them up. Josh Ladd, though, is not done with Johan Haaf for 4th position. He tried fighting back against the Frenchman, but found nothing in response, being able to make that move. Another 4 tenths for Victor Preto in 3rd position. Gap down to 3.3. 4 laps now, 3.5 left to go here at Zolder. Josh Ladd left with not much here into the Tuleman complex. This 4-corner, fantastic left, right, left, and then a double right-hander to get back onto the pace. Not much being able to be done just yet, but there are drivers now starting to wait, as O'Fray needs to find a way past Ortiz. They both have found David Dendelo through the chicane, and Ortiz has an opportunity.
And an opportunity, they've been really showing up a lot today, so take advantage of what you can. On screen, though, I mean, look at the gap between these race clutch cars. They've really tightened up over the last few laps.
They have done, but that gap has extended over that lap by 6 tenths of a second, so Haaf has had the ability to just pull away ever so slightly. Dendelo still under pressure with Ortiz being the sandwich with Julian O'Fray just behind, thinking about how he's going to try and find 2 more positions after his moment. Dendelo sitting duck, moves to the outside then to defend this one, as now Ortiz straight down the inside and takes the position very comfortably away there. That's another position gained. Look at Victor Prieto though, a second wiped off in that last lap. Gap down to 2.5 seconds, and Alatalo is hoping beyond hope that he can just limp and nurse the car home. It's 2 at the flag.
Limping the car home is not what you want to hear when you got someone closing in on you quickly. I mean, that's just going to add a whole nother level of pressure that can create an opening here for Petro.
It certainly could. Here comes O'Fray thinking about a move at the Tilleyman complex. He can't find it. That's not ideal. Alatalo 110 flat, another 4/10 from Victor Prieto, the champs iRacing car. 2 seconds, 2 laps. Can he find the magic formula to close down a second a lap to get things going? We have seen another retirement. That's Fernando Guerrero, who is out on route, as O'Fray has lost it. You're absolutely right. He's trying to find a way past David Dendelo, and he just can't find it because he could put the power down a little bit too early. Here comes the next chance then at turn number 1 here, and down the inside he thinks, but he's not quite able.
No, but you could really see that draft at work. He just sucked right up to him before he looked to the inside, and he's not done yet.
Not done yet at all, but there is not much time left for Joni Heikkinen. The white flag will come out this time by 1 final lap here at Zolder, and for drivers like David Dendelo, for example, they've got 2 laps to try and play the ultimate defense card. Frey is so much quicker through that Klein chicane, over Butte, almost banging wheels as he searches for the inside. Mistake Ortiz in front, and straight through will go Julian O'Fray, just like that. Fantastic overtaking. Look back towards Alatalo though. He's got 1.7 seconds without a mistake. I think Prieto is a little bit too far away in terms of that battle out on track. Your top 5 seem very much determined at this stage. It is O'Fray, Ortiz and Dendelo who have been the biggest movers in terms of this final lap battle, but there's not much more that many drivers can do. Tilleyman complex then for Alatalo and Prieto, and it seems that Prieto, although he's trying to do everything, it seems that there's not much more that he can argue with. Alatalo built up the gap early and has done enough to stave off this second position charge, but to Joni Heikkinen, the 2017 Finnish sim racing champion, will head himself through the final chicane and prove his worth to everybody once again. Joni Heikkinen wins here at Zolder and stamps his name down as the first live broadcast winner in the Formula Renault 3.5 official series. Great work from him. Alatalo second, Victor Prieto will secure 3rd place in the end. Still a few scraps though towards the end. O'Fray harassing the rear of Antonio Ortiz here, Stephen.
Well, Jake, that was one way to kick off a season.
Oh, you have to agree, a little bit wide from a certain Julian O'Fray, as O'Fray now starts to think about making this move. Can he send one down the inside?
Oh, he's going
to do it, but he can't. He just can't. The gap was not there at that chicane, and O'Fray probably needed to wait for the run off of the corner to make the move, and as such will not get the position that he was hoping to find. The last vehicle on the leading lap will be the 22 of Tim McIver, who will make his way to the final chicane and across the start-finish line. Let's get classified results then here from Zolder, and what a great race we've had. Joni Heikkinen then takes the victory by 7.8 seconds. He had to work hard for it, but it was damage that cost Alatalo in the end. He finishes second, holding off a challenge of Victor Prieto, who finishes 1.2 seconds behind in 3rd. Johan Harf gets 4th position ahead of Josh Ladd, his own teammate, the French-based Race Clutch team, with Ville Lepela getting 6th ahead of Petrico Tavara. Antiles Leverska gets 8th position with Jukka Savalainen in 9th, exactly where he started. And Joel Guez, his real timing, getting himself into the number 10 to position number 10. On the second page, there's Team Bushwink's Tim Greven in 11th place. Stefan Herman with Antonio Ortiz. Julian Frey unable to get by him in 14th. David Dendelo having himself a day which was full of being overtaken, with Matteo Calistani making a few mistakes for Positive Sim Racing. Tim McIver, the last vehicle on the leading lap, in 17th. Matthew Prudhomme, Scott McIntyre and Aurelian Gimmelwitz finishing one lap down. And vehicles who failed to finish: Fernando Guerrero, Radicals Online's Kazuki Umeshima, Carbon Racing's David Jarvis, and LDLC's Samuel Libert as well. We're going to step aside though here on the iRacing Esports Network. We'll come back to you with the post-race show. After this, you're watching the iRacing or Racebot TV primetime for the iRacing Formula Renault 3.5 Championship. And it's here only on the iRacing Esports Network. Patience is a virtue, my dear boy, and Joni Heikkinen knew that better than anybody else. He may not have had the overall one-lap pace to have said Riku Alatalo was quicker than me, but he kept the pressure on, and he saw the mistake from the legendary Finnish open wheel character, and just like that, he was able to get trumps and pick up the victory here this evening. We're here on the post-race show, here on the iRacing Esports Network, presented by Racebot TV. It's Shakespeare and Stephen Burbage here in the commentary booth. And just like that, the driver who came home in second position, Riku Alatalo, as he likes to call himself, Ricky Atulu. Rico, a difficult race for you today. Joni Heikkinen pushed you all the way. Aside from a little bit of damage, surely you felt that victory was more than capable of being in your grasp.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's really unfortunate that I've done 15 races this week and I've never damaged my car, and then in the one race that has actually a decent field, I managed to do it just an inch wide on the second curb on the chicane, and it broke my floor, and I was a second off pace. Nothing I could do. The car just didn't want to turn, so rather unfortunate. Wanted to battle with Joni the whole race, and I think I could have had the win without that.
Well, it isn't a win, but you still managed to get yourself second position. So in terms of this Formula Renault 3.5, an intermediary between the Formula Renault 2.0 and the McLaren MP430, do you feel like this 3.5 has been a little bit easier to adjust to than some other vehicles? And do you think that the balance in terms of drivers near the front has been seemingly fair over the first week?
Yeah, I think everyone's getting used to the new car, obviously, and the setups are being modified and improved on over the time. And I think, I found it very easy to jump into the car because I drove the Williams for a long time, and this is just a little bit less powered Williams, so it was very easy for me.
And of course, looking over to the next few weeks, of course, this championship, part of the iRacing Official Series Championship, you have to be looking after a second place finish here and looking at some very strong points in the big race split. You have to be starting to think, okay, maybe this is a car that I can potentially farm to look for a championship challenge.
Well, I've done like 16 races this week already, so like my championship points are getting diluted to the championship system. But I'm gonna race this car as much as I can because I like it. I think it's my new favorite car, and I love driving it. And it's been bringing me back to sim racing and not so much of Counter-Strike anymore. But I'm hoping this will be the Pro Series car coming this spring. So hopefully it is, and I can join the Drivers' World Championship again with this car.
Well, we'll certainly hope to see you potentially in the future. Before we let you go, any shout-outs or sponsors?
Well, thanks to Glacier and thanks to the whole of Club Finland people. Me and Heikkinen did a lot of... we communicated quite a bit about our pace and our setup work, so thanks to Joni as well.
No worries at all. Riku Alatalo getting second position overall. But Stephen, final thoughts then as we take ourselves towards the end of proceedings here on the iRacing Esports Network.
Well, Jake, I mean, my final thoughts here is we're really looking forward to this season. I mean, we've got the brand new Formula Renault 3.5. It's really put on a great show today. I expect to see more of this in the weeks to come. How about you?
I'm certainly hoping to see a great challenge and some fantastic drivers to put themselves in. And let's not forget, there is probably about 30 others who would want to get themselves in as they go over to Leipzig to battle things out. But that's all we've got to have time for here today on RaceSpot TV, the iRacing Esports Network. But to those who get it done for us, to Andwern Designs, the official graphics partners here at RaceSpot TV, along with ATVO and Apgineer, the official graphics engine. Animations presented to you by Simon Grossman, with live timing and scoring brought to you by Nick Thisson, and of course cameras by Istvan Ballo's TrackCams 22. Make sure that you check those out. But that's not all we're going to have here on Race TV for the foreseeable future, because we got the new series of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup that will be taking place, and we'll be looking to try and get into action. Make sure you check that out. There was a new champion last season, which really did bring things together. Also, the Neo Endurance Series, 6 hours of Interlagos, that's going to be key. Join Cam Walsh and the gang for that one. But from Stephen Burbage and Hugo Louise behind the camera, I am Jake Sperry saying that it's a great showing from Joni Heikkinen. The Finns are coming out in force, and this championship is going to be one hard fought right to the bitter end. See you around.